We travel to Europe. Here in the Alps mountains of northern Italy, we come to South Tyrol and visit the remote valley of Arn.
Although part of Italy, in this region people predominantly speak German and have a long tradition of baking bread and heating their homes with wood-burning masonry ovens and stoves.
Gertrude Plankensteiner, her son Hans, and the oven builder are looking for the right location to build a baking oven. This stand-alone oven can be built anywhere, but the door must face away from the direction of the prevailing winds. Here, the winds come from the north. Mr. Josef Niederkaufler, known here as Sigele Sepp, is a mason. All his life he has put up walls for houses, but his specialty is building masonry ovens, and not every mason can do so. He sets the dimensions of the baking oven by first asking how many loaves must fit. For 50 to 60 loaves of bread, the outside of the oven must be 10 feet long and 6 feet wide, with a height in the middle of the oven of 20 inches. These dimensions are critical to the efficiency of the oven.
The knowledge of traditional oven building is in jeopardy of being lost, so Sepp is happy that his nephew, Franz Gartner, will learn all that was taught to him by his master.
The oven stand is made of concrete blocks, and a layer of wood beams forms the table foundation of the oven. A framed slot is positioned near the door for removing the wood ashes. The back side of the table foundation is slightly higher than the front by 4 inches. A layer of insulating material, traditionally composed of straw and clay, is added. The baking space is constructed with solid bricks laid flat on top of the table foundation, and this inside surface must be made very smooth for the baking area. The front of the oven stand has an extension on either side that will be the foundation wall for the porch arch.
To visualize the shape of the oven, imagine a pear cut in half, with the cut side facing down on top of the table.
This shape gives the oven a strong draft that is needed to burn wood evenly and heat the baking chamber. The smoke flues have openings in the back of the chamber and are positioned on top of the dome. They end up at the front of the oven to be connected to the chimney. The chimney rises 3 to 4 feet above the porch arch. Finally, a peaked wooden shingle roof is built around the chimney.
The pear-shaped dome at first seems complex, but Sepp has a clever way to build it using available materials.
First, the outside line for the dome wall is marked on the baking surface. Next, the iron frame for the oven door is put in place. The first row of bricks are laid. A wooden post is secured in the center of the dome to measure the correct height. Instead of using a wooden structure to support the dome, sawdust is mixed with water to form a moldable paste. This is firmed to make the pear-shaped dome.
The final decision about the shape of the dome is adjusted by Sepp's expert eye. This mold guides the dome line as Sepp and Franz lay the bricks.
A good construction uses flues to capture the heat of the smoke and keep the oven chamber hot. On the back side of the dome, halfway up the height of the wall, 2 holes are made for the smoke flues that will merge with the chimney. The mortar used for the dome and the flues is made up of sand, hydrated lime, some hydraulic lime, and water. It doesn't contain any cement, which would make it too rigid.
To keep the bricks and points between the bricks clean, a layer of paper is placed between the sawdust mold and bricks.
If one raises the dome in a regular fashion, this structure is obtained. As the open circle becomes smaller, shorter pieces of brick are used until the top is completely sealed. Sepp makes sure that the highest point is the center of the dome.
Later, a second layer of bricks will be built around the dome for additional insulation.
To create a strong draft, flues are built for hot air to travel along a separate channel, slightly inclined towards the chimney. A subconstruction on top of the dome makes a flat, even surface for the flues to rest on. The flues must be clean, and there can't be any debris left from the construction, or the draft will be blocked. At the end of the flues, 2 small iron frames with doors are installed. They can be sealed tightly so heat doesn't escape from the chamber during the baking process. The chimney is masoned in a conical shape, so the smoke is accelerated in an upward draft. It is built off-center in order to make it easier to construct the roof.
The porch is constructed for weather protection. A wooden form supports building a masoned arch, which also protects the wooden roof from flames and embers that could come out of the oven.
The masoned arch needs to set 1 day before taking the form away. The outer wall is built with large, hollow blocks, which provide additional insulation for the oven chamber and support for the roof.
Sepp also builds wood-burning heating stoves for inside homes.
The heating stove takes less time to build, but requires a special stone, locally called leadstone.
Found at deposits located in the mountains, the mining and transportation of leadstone is difficult, requiring great strength and physical effort.
Thomas Marcher quarries leadstone by carrying his 60-pound sled uphill from the valley several times a day to gather stone needed for building stoves. Two tons of stone are easily broken out of the wall by placing the chisel along the vein of the deposit. The stone pieces are then split to usable sizes. Leadstone, like wood, has a direction in which it can be split. It is said, "In the way the vein runs, you should set the chisel."
The only way to carry the stone down to the valley is on this sled, guided by Thomas.
The sled will transport about 600 pounds of rock per trip. When the path gets too steep, a chain is put around the sled blades in order to brake. What is special about the leadstone is that it stores and disperses heat very well. The stone is set so that the heat is conducted along the veins. It is not used flat because the heat transfer would be blocked. The stones are shaped to an appropriate size to build the wall of the stove. A temporary wooden structure is placed on the brick foundation that guides the shape of the chamber.
Sepp follows traditional wisdom that says to watch the moon. If the stove is made when the moon is increasing, it gets cracks. But if the moon is waning, everything goes well.
A mason stove is built quickly. In one day, the construction structure is completed, and the next day, the outside is finished with stucco. The mortar is the same as that of the baking oven. Sepp pays attention to several elements